When you work with them in your practice, if you could give a percentage or an idea, how many of them are aware that they have a control issue? How many of them are willing to work on changing it?
Wow. Can you repeat the question?
Okay.
That's a great question.
Yes. So in your practice of working with these successful women who have control issues is what I'm calling it. How many of them are aware that they even have this control issue? How many of them are willing to change it?
I would say that by the time someone comes to me, they're unaware. The majority are unaware they have a control problem. I mean, so if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say 90%. 9 out of 10 don't know they have a control problem, but they do know they're not getting the outcomes that they want. I will say, though, that even though the number is low for awareness on the front end, the willingness to change is high. So once I realized that with this particular type of woman, that even though they're not aware, when they do become aware, they're ready to go and they're ready to change.
Okay.
And I think that's a misconception. I think that people think that that type of woman is locked into like what they're doing and they just want to do things their way. But I find it to be very different than that.
Okay. So I would imagine that these high earning women who are doing well for themselves, successful women, realize that they have a problem that needs to be solved.
Right.
They've reached out for help.
Right.
Which says a lot. And then once they hear a plan that sounds reasonable to them, they're willing to take action. Is that fair to say?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Now, what about the ones that aren't? What does that look like? Do you dump them like as a therapist? Yeah.
The ones that aren't ready to change, that aren't willing to change. Yeah, so that's pretty apparent. For me, it's pretty apparent on the consult call. So you're going to feel a lot of defensiveness, a lot of, let's say, misplaced confidence. I think that's a nice way of putting it, where someone, they made the move. It's almost like cognitive dissonance. Like, I'm going to make the move to make the change, but I don't actually believe that I need help. So you're just going to find a lot of incongruence with that type of person. And so, yeah, I'll refer them out.
Yeah, if you're not a good match.
It's out of my scope of practice to make you ready. So, sometimes they need to be referred out, or they need to take a couple of days to think on it.
Okay, that makes sense. So talk to me about some of the positive attributes, like maybe after you've finished with the client. Actually, let's take a step back. Tell me about finishing with a client in therapy. Are we ever finished?
Yes. I think that someone going to therapy should expect to be done with that particular problem. And we're always growing and developing, and so there's going to be new things as you're going, and things change as we grow and develop, and we need new eyes on new problems, or fresh eyes on new problems. But you should expect to, like, I work with attachment, so going from insecure to secure. You should expect that you should be confident and secure within yourself and within relationships by the time you're done. That's not something that should be this ongoing, arduous process. You do get to a place where you are done.
I know what your answer is going to be. So let me prompt it with,
okay.
I'm going to ask you, how long will it take? You're going to tell me it depends on the person. So.
Well, I do it in 12 weeks normally.
12 weeks?
Yeah, 12 weeks.
To correct significant childhood traumas that have caused.
Yeah. So I do them in 12 weeks. Yeah. So that's another thing. It just depends on the type of therapist that you're working with. So I'm very solution focused, and I have a framework that I'm working out of with every client, even though each individual is unique.
Yes.
The framework and the strategy for getting someone to security is the same universally, because there are certain things that make us feel safe. There are ways that we can communicate that makes it more likely that someone's going to hear us and receive us, regardless of what we're communicating about. And so there are certain things like that. There's a framework that we're going to work out of, so that you're not just grasping for straws. I don't know if is that a grasping for straws?
Yeah.
So you're not just like roaming around in the dark looking for, the way out. There's a way out. So I follow one way out.
You are so direct.
You are so direct.
Yes, in your approach, right? And I feel so confident when you speak. I believe you. I don't want to leave you after 12 weeks. What does that look like for you? Don't people become attached?
That's a good question. Yes. And like when I still have, I think, an attachment to my therapist, even though I don't see my therapist regularly. So I think good therapy, I know good therapy, you do develop a level of attachment, though there's boundaries and professional boundaries within that attachment. So when someone gets to the end of their 12 weeks, sometimes what happens is we take 1 hour sessions and we'll go to 30-minute sessions instead. And we might check in every other week or even once a month. So we'll just dial down the frequency and the length of time. And sometimes someone really is done after 12. And I just tell them to reach out when they're like, if they need something else, or maybe someone's single at the time. And then when they start dating, they just want to make sure that they're doing it right. And so then they'll reach back out and we'll do a couple sessions.
Perfect. Let's talk about doing it right.
Yeah.
So what are the green flags in a person that will show us they are ready?
Okay. Green flags. Non-anxious presence is a good one. So you're not really non-anxious presence. Another maybe key word is having a level of healthy detachment from the person that you're dating or interacting with, especially on the front end. So you're able to be present, you're able to connect, but I don't have to make this do something, and I don't have to make us get to a particular place. So non-anxious presence is really good. Having your own life is also a green flag. So your life isn't revolve around finding someone and then being with them, although those are great things to have in your life. When you have your own life, like you have things that you would like to do regardless of whether someone's doing it with you. You can be by yourself and not feel anxious or worthless or lonely. So that kind of experience you can have as an individual is a really big green flag. And then willingness to change. I think it's just always so flexibility, willingness to change. When you're dating someone, especially if you're dating multiple people, you're having to, it's not about you, it's about you and the other person. And so being able to adjust and accommodate and know that my way isn't the only way, but that the person that I'm with also has ways and truths that they live by, and be able to be flexible and integrate rather than try to change someone. That's a big one.